Movie Wars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Wars podcast.
Woohoo!
The shame of Hagerstown is back.
He has
risen to the shame.
Last time he was the pride, and the 13 minutes we all took a piss in between doing these episodes, he became the shame.
The weeks. The 13 weeks.
The 13 weeks. So glad to have you back, man. He just did Collateral with us. Now we're doing Speed Racer.
Yes, sir. My third favorite movie ever made.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I'm a Wachowski fan, and The Matrix is not only one of my favorites, but I just think it's one of the most important movies ever made.
V for Vendetta, also insanely good, insanely culturally impactful. And then they put this out, and no one knew what to do with it.
You described it to me, and I had seen images of the cartoon. I had never spent time with it. And I'll be honest, the way you described it to me, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll save my thoughts for later. But no, go ahead.
Here's the thing that like you have to understand, and I don't think the world was ready for this movie when it came out.
I don't think the world was ready when this movie came out.
Yeah.
Because statement.
Yeah. I mean, look. We have...
Obama was the president. We were still just trying to wrap our heads around having a Kenyan in office.
The Dark Knight just came out.
Coldplay did Viva La Vida.
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
I know
it's
what you're saying.
People weren't ready for what this movie was. And I don't think, especially reviewers, knew what to do with it. Because no one had really tried. I mean, really, I think up at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, check the date. When did the Dragon Ball Z movie come out? The live action one? Because I'm pretty sure it came out right before this, and that was really all the world had as far as like anime live action adaptations.
And it was like the world of epics still. Like a lot of epics were still happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so then you have this where it is the most traditional version of an anime TV show, but done so weird in live action, but also like most of the set pieces aren't even there. They're animated, but purposefully cartoony. But it's like they're consistent with the style all the way throughout, down to the way like the editing was done and the transitions were done, where like people are floating across the screen and that's what's transitioning us from shot to shot. I just think it was so far beyond what people were used to from movies at the time that it just didn't do well. But then you look at the live action animes that we're getting today, and they all look like utter shit in comparison to this. As much as I enjoyed the Avatar The Last Airbender live action, and they're getting a second season, like it's fine, but there's something, and I saw a video about this a while ago, there's something that's missing, and it's especially having to do with like the costumes. Because even though when you watch Speed Racer, the costumes are all very vivid, very bright, they still look like real clothes. They still look like people are wearing them and they went to the store and bought them, as opposed to most of these other remakes that are being done where they just look like they went to the costume store and pulled the costume straight out of the bag. Like they don't look real. And so for whatever reason, this had such a solid melding of everything it needed, but just at the worst possible time for it to come out, I think.
Is part of that, not the timings part, but is it like the... Okay, so like everyone loves Last of Us because of how many shots in it look like the video game. Is it one of these like it's fans aren't making like I don't know who made Last Airbender, but like is it not are they not a fan of the genre or a fan of the show?
No,
the anime.
The people making it. From what I can tell, as far as the Avatar one is concerned, the people involved loved the original. It's Netflix that I think is the problem, because they've been the ones who keep doing these live action reboots, but then they only do one season and then they cancel it because it doesn't do well. And part of it is it comes down to the writing. Netflix, as we've discussed on the show before, has a mandate that any of their original material, now basically the characters have to narrate what they're doing. So people who are listening but not watching know what's going on. It's designed to be on in the background.
Insane.
It's absolutely insane, and it's stupid. That, I think, is one of the biggest problems, but also it's this idea of, like I said, what you're seeing looks completely manufactured.
Yeah.
Whether or not it is, it looks that way. It looks like set pieces. None of it looks like in an actual world. Yeah. And so even with how cartoony the animation looks in Speed Racer, it was done with such a purpose. We have clear examples of King Kong and Transformers even at the time, like a couple of years before, where the animation just looks incredible. They had the technology. They could have made it look more realistic if they wanted to, but it was such a specific artistic direction that they went in that I think is what made it so good.
Talladega Nights, but it's Speed Racer.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Netflix, take notes, okay? You need to be doing better. And the Wachowskis did this perfectly in 2008.
See, I used to love films that had a narrator up top, like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I loved that he was like narrating up top and just be like, how'd I get here? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love Robert Downey Jr., so like it might have just been him. But
Fair.
Yeah, now that I know that it's like they're doing it just to be like, okay, you're,
Yeah. Well, it's not even having a narrator. It's the characters will literally be like, I'm going to walk over there and get milk while we have this conversation.
And take a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like down to that.
I'm going to not be able to not see this now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason I don't really watch Netflix originals as much as I used to, is because they've just devolved into being the elevator music of TV.
Wow.
Yeah. They never land the plane. There's a lot of really strong premises that like the first 15 minutes, like, ooh, this could be good. And then halfway through, I'm like, they have just given up.
Well, even they've worked with the Wachowskis, because the Wachowskis did Sense8. And that was beloved by the Wachowski fans and just fans of the show. And then Netflix, from what I can tell, as the show went on, because I think it went 3 seasons, and then they finally let them do a finale episode, but they just kept getting too involved and not letting the Wachowskis cook with it. And then it ended it. And then the fans revolted and got them to let them go and make a final episode to close the series out.
It's like just give us something.
Yeah.
Let's
Literally.
close this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked because I got into this movie kind of not knowing what to expect, having loved the Wachowskis.
I fully expected you to hate this movie.
Really?
Absolutely. With your reaction to Tintin, I fully expected you to be like, this is shit.
For whatever reason, they don't feel even in the same ballpark to me.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, because they're both like pushing the boundaries of animation.
That, and I consider them both to be very family-friendly action movies.
Yeah.
Despite having adult themes in them, they're very family-friendly.
Yeah. I can get down with a family-friendly action movie but still, I don't know. Tintin just rubbed me the wrong way, but I didn't react like that. Aside from a few, like,
you just didn't like the enabling alcoholic dog.
That's true.
It's also funny, like the family man's like, I don't like Tintin.
Yeah,
fuck that guy. Bring the Terminator in.
Yeah.
No, I like violent, scary, dark, depressing movies.
Your wife agreed with me, so I'm right.
This is true. My wife hates my taste in movies. This is true, and I hate hers. Love you, hon. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, call your mom after this.
I actually am. I am calling her after this. That's part of my schedule today. Is talk to my mom after the podcast.
Mom of the pride of Hagerstown.
Yeah,
the true pride of Hagerstown, Bev Abeles.
Yes, love your mothers. But no, I found it to be refreshing. I came to it later, but I was actually kind of like really into the visuals.
Yeah.
Part of this too is like for some reason the past few years has been a journey of me like realizing John Goodman is maybe like a top 5 actor for me.
Oh, 100%.
I have just like
he's so good.
Yeah, that was a slow burn though, that career.
Yeah.
Because it was like one of those days, like and fairly recently too, I feel like in like the last couple of years where you kind of went, man, this motherfucker doesn't miss.
Yeah. He's been doing nothing but bangers for 50 years.
Yeah.
I'm about to finish up The Righteous Gemstones. And everything. Yeah. Even within that show, he has shown so much range.
Absolutely.
Because he plays young Eli, and now I'm in season 4, spoiler alert, where he's like hippie Eli. I'm just like
retired Eli.
He's playing. He's got so many shades and everything he's done with the Coens, and I was kind of wondering, like, well, what's John Goodman going to do in Speed Racer? And like the part where he is spinning the guy above his head, and if I were to read that on paper, that John Goodman in a Wachowski film is going to spin a guy above his head, a ninja, and throw him across the room and beat up all these guys, I'm like, that's.
But the thing that sells it is the ninja backs up and he's got his gigantic arm there, and then it focuses right on that ring that's like World Wrestling Champion, and it's like, oh shit,
it just works.
Such a little detail that gives you such insight into the past of this character. Like that's another thing that they just do so well in this movie is that every single shot is so meticulously planned out, because the majority of the movie was shot on green screen, obviously.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, you have to think through every single layer of the background. There's very little room for accidents to happen in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So when you watch it, you can tell every little detail is something that is adding to what is going on. Nothing is there needlessly.
Yeah. There's over 2,000 VFX shots.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think what part of it, what it comes down to, first of all, the performances are spot on.
What a stacked cast.
Yeah,
every single person.
What I'm going to say is that the performances, although they don't necessarily like push the boundaries of film or anything like that, they serve this story so
100%.
well. Every character is bought in, and I think also it just comes down to the Wachowskis just executing.
Yeah.
They take on grand visions.
Yeah.
You could boil it down to The Matrix. We'll just say one for now. V for Vendetta and this, like you look at these three movies, like they don't like take small bites.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do it right.
Well, and like V for Vendetta, just even that one, like it had such a ripple effect for like later years.
Oh yeah,
you know, of like just fans being like it created its own culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do these movies that just leave marks.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I've probably said the phrase "red pill" 3,000 times in the last 2 years.
And no one ever said that before The Matrix. That was not a phrase.
Yeah, like I literally was reading an article about Whitney Cummings being just the fucking worst. But they were like, I think someone tweeted back at her being like, "Can you just stop being this like red pill, I want the boys to like me comic?" And I was like, man, this phrase is everywhere.
Yeah.
But I know it. I get it. I understood it because it had,
Yeah, they bring stuff to life that's hard to imagine. Like the bullet time scene, this whole film with the and I have a lot of randos about how that almost didn't happen later, but like, and then the V for Vendetta thing, there's so many things that they've just visually ingrained, like the mask, the V for Vendetta mask.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
That's also like the costume version of Red Pill. Like you see that everywhere, like in memes and GIFs, and is that how they say it? GIFs or GIFs?
GIFs.
I always forget. I'm old. Sorry.
I don't care what the creator says. It's a GIF, you asshole.
If it was a GIF, you'd put a J in it, you J-hole.
Yeah. What are we talking about? A giraffe?
Yeah. What the crud?
This turned so quickly.
Fuck you, man. GIF creator. But no, yeah, I fully expected not to like it. There's just a lot of things on paper when I was just reading about it. I was like, and I don't usually, when Seth suggests a movie, I typically don't read about it, but because it was the Wachowskis, I was like, oh, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I mean, I didn't know it was them.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. And then I ended up really liking it. So maybe you don't really like us. Which is why you haven't. Maybe you really don't like Will Special, which is why you haven't shared that either. I don't care if you like it or not. It is your job because you're listening to it again today. If you hate us so much, why are you here today?
Yeah, you hate listeners.
You J-hole.
You rage people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You piece of shit.
Yeah.
Is it because it's Mother's Day? We're here filming on Mother's Day. What are you doing? You're not going to listen to this on Mother's Day, but we don't care about our mothers. We care about you.
Yeah,
and you hate us.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Share.
Love you.
It's funny because it's like doing your ads, except for you're just insulting the people listening.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's divulged to.
Yeah, instead of like, fucking buy this dick pill.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? You do need a dick pill.
Yeah.
We're the dick pill.
Yeah. When was the last time you even saw it?
Soft.
Yeah. Soft gel.
Normally, you need the blue pill for dick stuff. We got the red pill too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good work.
You still here? Okay.
Not anymore.
No, we love them. We know we love them. That's just like, they know we're comedians. We love you. We're just joshing.
Yeah.
That's another phrase.
We're goshing.
We're just willing.
We're goshing around.
Yeah,
we're giffing.
We're willing around.
Willing, giffing, jiffing.
Oh my God.
The Wachowskis were they're renowned Emerson alums.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So that's another reason I'm kind of shocked. This like I didn't know that they did this because 2008 would have been when I was at Emerson.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't realize Emerson. I'm not gonna lie. I went to Arkansas Tech. I have no prestige.
I went to Belmont.
Emerson's it's a good film school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna go to Emerson now.
They rejected me from the film program, put me in TV, and now I do nothing involving anything. Actually, that's not true. I started comedy. I started stand up at Emerson, so I guess.
Oh, there you go.
And this podcast.
And I did work in TV for a bit, so I did do my major.
Hell yeah.
They were big alum.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The questions.
Here we go.
Am I the only one that until I saw the first bubble, I texted you when this happened. I was like, is it just me or are all these drivers dying in these explosions? My first thought, and eventually they finally did show the bubble thing pop up, but I'm like, man, a lot of drivers are going to die in this PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
Or is it PG?
It's PG-13.
I was like, a lot of people.
There's a middle finger in it, so it's PG-13.
I was like, there's a lot of people dying in explosions. Now, eventually they show the safety bubble, and they do talk about the safety features in the cars later.
Yeah.
But at first I was like, oh my God, all these people are dying.
That's the thing, though. Like I said, there's so many details because next time you watch it, you're going to see the bubbles from the whole time. they're there. They just don't show them directly until they need to show them directly.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's so much thought put into this. Like you can tell they absolutely adored the source material. Like there's so much love and care put into how this movie was made. It's so good.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's my number 3.
Number 3.
I can tell. I mean, I can. It's one of those where if I wasn't on camera, I'd scoot over just a little bit.
Yeah.
How bricked up you are about this movie.
He's bricked up.
That's why we got the couch in between us.
A lot of weird things happen on the Emerald couch.
Yeah, I know. JD Vance fucks it. You're fucking it. Everyone's fucking this couch.
I just had a funny thought. What if we combined every person that sat in that chair into one entity?
It'd be quite a few.
That would be a wild person.
Yeah.
That would be a wild person.
No black people yet.
I know, we ask.
We've had a Native American. We've had a Mexican.
A woman.
Yeah.
We even had a woman.
Yeah.
The girls really say no, except Mariana's always on board, but the other women like,
but she's personality. She's always like, I'm down. She's always down for everything.
Down.
She's fun.
All the other ones are like, you want to talk about what?
Yeah.
Speed racer.
Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here.
Will's all
we love
bricked
all
up.
people.
No, invites open.
Yeah.
Rando.
That's the only question you had.
That's the only one. Unless you can think of another one. I couldn't think of another one.
I mean, so when are we voting for Chim Chim and Spritle for president?
Oh,
and
yes.
vice president?
That's a good question.
The monkey.
Oh.
Also, the greatest use of Freebird in a movie, in my opinion, during the scene where they're riding the cart around. Oh my God, so good.
Biggest surprise of the movie was Spritle.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And you and I were texting. It's like now we're used to good actors, like kid actors. Stranger Things just kind of changed that. They just managed to group a bunch of really good child actors there.
Yeah.
But for most part, aside from like Danny in The Shining, like kid actors sucked most of the time.
So bad. And especially when you can tell that they had to get an older person to like ADR their child dialogue.
Is that what they did?
Oh, a lot of times, yeah. You'll see some like little children and you can tell the audio just sounds weird, and it's because they probably could barely say the line, and it was even worse than the shitty ADR they put over it. So.
Working with child actors is so when I worked on The Sound of Music, I mean, those kids were great, and I loved all of them. But like, it is.
You worked on the one in the '60s?
No. Yeah. I worked on the '60s. I'm a time traveler. But it is like, it's bizarre because like some of them are very much kids.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this is your first role, and you're doing your algebra or pre-algebra homework or whatever. And then some of them like they've been in it for a while.
Yeah.
And they're like these jaded 13-year-olds, like smoking a cigarette on like every break and it's very strange.
Yeah, that was Paulie Litton. He stayed busy. Jersey Girl, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he's continued to do things. So
yeah,
He's still acting now?
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure is.
Here's the fun thing about the entire cast. Emil Hirsch is really the only straight character in the whole movie. Everyone else is just cartoony enough that it makes the digital background feel real somehow, but they're not so over the top that it becomes the Super Mario Brothers movie, where it's just weird.
Yeah.
So my personal favorite character in the whole film is Royalton, played by Roger Allam, who are you familiar with theater?
A little bit.
He was the original Javert in the London Les Mis.
Then no, I'm not that familiar with theater, is what I just learned in that moment.
Yeah, that's where he kind of got his big start acting, was in or at least his big break acting was he was Javert in the 80s when the play first started. And he is so menacing in this.
You guys probably have a lot of Les Mis fans, especially the London production of it.
Maybe. It's my favorite musical, so.
I don't think I have a favorite musical.
No. Well, that's
come on. Yes, you do.
Why sing a song, to quote Jerry Seinfeld? Who sings? Why?
I mean, that is the funniest thing about musicals.
Your favorite is Joker 2.
Oh, God.
I haven't seen Joker 2.
I haven't either, but it's a jukebox musical with Lady Gaga. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I do like that about like musicals where it's just like a plot point's about to happen, and we're going to tell you about it. And then they just start singing. And honestly, the way my brain works is I like zone out for like the whole song because like I just like want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, all right, song time. Let's get through it. And okay, now we're back to it. I'm like, wait, all the plot was in there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is back in the day with like Rodgers and Hammerstein, there was no plot in the songs. They would take a topic from a moment and then riff on that for 6 minutes and then get on with the rest of the story. Now they've got to the point where like, no, you're gonna listen. You're going to listen to every fucking word that we sing because that's where all the important shit is.
Where did I put my vape pen?
Goddamn Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay, fun fact. Julie Andrews, they had to rewrite all of the music to fit her voice because she couldn't do the range of the original score from Roger and Roger Hammerstein. Carrie Underwood, though, adjusted her voice, do it the way the original score was written.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you worked on that one. Okay, the TV one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were talking about like just some like New York production of it.
No. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Yeah, I worked on the Sound of Music Live on NBC.
His
I didn't know if you were again going back to a high school.
No.
Instead of throwing out the first pitch, now you're helping with the school play.
I mean, they have asked me to come back since.
Yeah. He's moved on from being the shame of Hagerstown to being the burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout of Hagerstown. Listen, kids.
Now they have no expectations.
He's just sitting out in the
You're
park.
all crap. All right. I was a production assistant on the Sound of Music Live in 2013.
The evolution of this man just before our eyes is amazing.
I knew Carrie Underwood when she was a liberal.
Oh, that's
We used
so.
to share Brussels sprouts.
Oh my God.
Just constantly just like starting a new cigarette every time. Not even finishing the same one. Just anyway,
Yeah.
you're all shit. Your parents are shit.
Just 15 partly smoked cigarettes in an ashtray.
A dare officer walks in. He's like, no.
They're all Camel Crushes, but he hasn't crushed the bulb.
Funny thing you say about Dare, like in high school, one of the most notorious drug dealers in my school wore a Dare t-shirt almost every
Dude,
day.
I wore a Dare t-shirt for like all of college. I thought they were the best shirts.
Yeah.
I would, if I can find one now for $57 at Buffalo Exchange, I will spend all $57 of it.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled, so my drug dealer was the pharmacist.
There you go.
Oh my God, you wearing the idea of your parents doing like the Dare program for you would be so funny.
Yeah.
But,
that'd be a great bit.
Your dad's playing like your dad's strung out, and like you're like, this is what happens when like she's like cracking the egg. Like, this is your brain on drugs.
That's a great idea.
She just makes you an omelet.
I think I've got a new bit. Thank you, Will Abeles.
You're welcome.
Yeah. My dad being a narcotics officer was enough to stare that, you know.
Your dad
scare
does the
hell out of
same
me.
thing, but it's like way too intense. Like he brings in like an actual like crackhead.
Yeah.
He's like, you see that? You want to
Look
do
who
that?
I arrested
You wanna be
today.
that guy?
I did go to the jailhouse. I did meet people my
Did ya?
dad arrested a few times, and it was, I mean, of course, my dad's job was to pretend to be them.
Yeah,
And
but you were also in small town Arkansas, so you probably knew them already.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, you arrested? No, this is a funny story. It's funny you guys keep talking about. I know it's a movie podcast, but hell, we're comedians. My dad, one of the biggest drug busts he ever did. So my dad came. Thinking about this now as a wreck. I can't believe they let my dad near a school. Dude drank a liter, a handle of whiskey a day. Didn't brush his teeth. Dipped. He was a wreck. I mean, he was a true wreck. And they let him do. Your father, what did they call it when your dad would come and talk about what he did?
Yeah, like
Career day?
Yeah, and
bring
my
your parents to
dad
work day or
came.
whatever.
My friend Ashley comes up to me. We were friends. I didn't have many, but Ashley was my friend, and she came up to me. She's like, your dad arrested my dad. Funny enough, my dad arrested her dad. He was a huge drug dealer, and they seized his houseboat. It wasn't a yacht. It was like a redneck version of yacht,
Yeah,
though. It was a
houseboat.
giant houseboat.
Like
It
a
had
100-foot houseboat. Yeah, I've seen
huge
those.
luxury. And we freaking used the water slide on her dad's after they seized it. My dad took us to the lake. We fucking water slid off her dad's houseboat. And she walked up to my dad, and she was glad. Or I guess she knew her dad was a bad dude.
Yeah.
But he arrested her in an undercover sting, and I fucking water slid off his boat.
Small
Amazing.
town Arkansas, you can't beat it.
No.
Oh my
Cannot
God.
beat it. That's amazing.
This is so good.
I just like, because we established when we were talking about this during Collateral, like your dad looking like Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah.
your detective. Like, I love the idea of that guy now trying to speak to like elementary school students,
Oh,
and like while still drinking the whiskey,
Yeah.
and that's
drunk
just-
in the school. Not
Yeah.
joking. Drunk.
Sir, can you please just put the flask away? He's like, "It's
Chain
not a
smoking
flask,
cigarettes."
It's medicinal.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't know how to tie a tie, and he was wearing a suit. I think he borrowed it, and like it looked exactly like you would think like in a movie. Like the
Yeah.
tie was dangling. It wasn't even, the knot was bad. It was like halfway down his chest.
He's just staring into the distance, chain smoking cigarettes. We're
Wait,
all
how's
gonna
that-
die
how's
one
that
day.
not a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, just your narcotics father just coming at. I mean, it's a short film right there.
yeah.
What
Is this what your book is about?
It's a book. Yeah. I've got a literary agent. We're selling the book right now. So
Hell
seriously?
Yeah. Godspeed. We'll see. But yeah, randos. This is why I love having comedians on the show. We just go wherever.
Yeah.
Chimp.
Someone at home turned it, like just paused it, or just muted it, and they're like, "Oh, I think they're talking about the movie again."
That looked like his rando's face.
Yeah.
Some people have an O face. You have a rando face.
Rando.
Oh.
They can feel, even if it's on mute, they feel that vibrancy in the chest.
Rando
Here
daddy.
we go. Rando time.
We all
their hand in their pants.
We all love Chim Chim, right?
Yes.
The monkey. Real Chim Chim was a gnarly beast on set.
Oh, I'm sure.
Apparently, on day one of filming, he lost it, attached himself so hard to Christina Ricci's
Ricci.
her left breast so hard that she said that she thought he was going to tear it off. And she actually she feared monkeys before, and she was interviewed, and it said it validated her fear of monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She thought the monkey was going to tear her breast off.
Here's the thing. We should have learned this years and years ago when Ronald Reagan worked with the chimp. Y'all, it's never a good idea.
What happened with Reagan and the chimp?
I mean, same thing. Chimps are just so temperamental that like they're always a nightmare on set.
Yeah.
Like, but it's just like that's one of the earliest instances of like I forget who this guy who used to imitate presidents. He would get up there and he was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's just like, I don't get why I can't be president. Ronald Reagan worked with a chimp. I worked with Danny DeVito. It's the same thing. But it's like, yeah, we've known this for years. Chimps are the worst to work with of all the animals. Like they're even worse than horses. Like, and they
kill people.
They're just like us, and they want to fuck everything.
Yep.
Like, chill. Let's stop bringing chimps on set. That's funny.
Poor Christina Ricci.
And she's had like Christina Ricci's like one of those that's like she's been in Hollywood since like day one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
like,
the Addams Family.
Yeah, so you just have one of these like it's another story where she's just like, no.
Casper.
Yeah.
Monkey almost ripped off my boob.
Yeah. War stories.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's wild.
The actors described they used these gimbals that were like these racing rigs for the actors, and they strapped them in, and they said that they got beat by them. Basically, Emil Hirsch was interviewed, and he said they slammed you around, you get bruises. And while shooting, Christina Ricci, once again, not only is she about to miss a boob, she vomited several times and got motion sick from being tossed around, and the actors all said they were getting slammed around in these things.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've seen the footage. I remember when I was a kid, we watched all the behind the scenes, and yeah, it's crazy what they were doing. But I mean, clearly it worked for what they ended up putting out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of focus is so wild to me. It's like being able to be like, all right, like I couldn't get through Venom drinking a beer while my seat was moving, and now it's like I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Yeah. In order to save money, what they did was because they had so many VFX shots, over 2,000, they were editing in real time.
Oh yeah.
And so they were filming, and they would send shit to the editing room because they knew if they knew that they waited till the end, they would have zero money to edit the film because they were doing it coincidentally. A VFX guru who did it, John Gaeta.
Like a bag fell down the stairs.
Well, I know they had an earthquake. East Nashville. Not everybody felt it, but there was an earthquake. They felt it mostly in Donaldson.
Because the only time I ever had in LA, I was driving, so
I'm just kidding. That was loud.
Podcast neighbors die.
I was like, God.
But it did sound like a.
We're a very rectangular person.
Yeah.
What was that cartoon that?
What were we talking about?
All right, 5. VFX guru John Gaeta called it a nightmare to shoot that many VFX shots and to edit it real time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because this was before we were used to it with like all the Marvel shit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like
did they do that too now?
Huh?
Did they also do that? Oh, is that how they turn around so quickly?
Marvel?
Yeah,
probably. I mean, 90% of what they do is visual effects shot.
The things you learn.
It's so weird when you watch the actors talk about being on those sets. It's like they're not even really acting. Given a line to
the
say
behind the
right
scenes
there,
of those always suck.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah, it's just like them strapped to something, and then like they have like balls all over them, and then just like whipped away.
Yeah, and the only thing that's going to be on camera is their face. They're going to animate their hair. They're going to animate their body. Like it's so weird. But yeah, this was kind of the beginning of that. But this was done with such particular artistic direction that Spy Kids 3D or Shark Boy and Lava Girl, like the animation is purposefully shitty because he was trying to emulate a certain style of video game or like being in a dream world with it's done with specific intention, so it tends to work.
I just keep expecting people to die.
Yeah, now we're paranoid.
You're just like waiting for a gunshot.
Yeah. I know. I keep having dreams I'm getting shot in the head. It's weird. But I wake up. And Yeah, that's
That
wild.
got dark real fast.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, say something funny, and I was like,
no, okay, we're just living in that.
And my head's just like on the street. No, no, sorry. I do. Sometimes I just go to a dark place. I will edit that out. This is crazy. So I didn't know Matthew Fox, who played Racer X. I guess he's famous for doing Lost.
Oh yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Lost, so I
haven't
know.
either.
Oh my god, you guys.
He said this was one of the most What?
I think he's Jack. I gotta look that up.
I heard the ending was shit, so I just didn't watch it.
Listen, you guys are shit. How about that? How about that, huh?
Yeah.
No one's ever defending the end of Lost, but I'm over here. I'm going to defend the end of Lost.
Go ahead. Do it.
It was fine.
Yeah, do it.
It's like Seinfeld. You're just like, yeah, it's over.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel the same way about Game of Thrones. I thought it was fine. Like, I think the people who hated it were just bitching.
No, Game of Thrones did suck.
I still haven't seen it.
No, the ending was perfect. I figured the ending was going to happen that way. Like, it's so obvious if you pay any attention.
Like, well, the reason people got mad with Lost is there were so many like storylines that just never ended.
Yeah.
They just were like, we'll just move on. We'll do a new storyline.
Yeah.
So that's what like really started upsetting people. And then the end was sort of like that, where they're like, because you just kind of went, so what the fuck is the island?
Yeah.
You know? So that's really why people were mad. But I was kind of like, this is fine.
Yeah, it was a burned down Waffle House.
Yeah. My directing professor
I hope so.
In college, he assistant directed. It's 100% his fault.
Interesting.
It always tickled me that was like his big claim to fame. And I'm like, your big claim to fame is you assistant directed the worst season of Lost.
Yeah.
Not to make this a Lost podcast now, but that was one of those shows. I mean, there's shows like that now, but because we can stream them, there's a little, because like Lost, you had to like wait.
Yeah.
And then you had to like watch the next week. Like we had Lost parties in high school. Like
yeah.
people would show up and watch it, and then they'd be like, all right, now we're on Wednesdays. And we're moving back to Sundays. Okay, now we're on Tuesdays. And like it was or they'd be like, okay, you're not getting an episode for 3 weeks. And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
We were trying to be consistent here. I just want to watch it. But like it was, I mean, I can't think of anything since then that people like. Yeah, I guess Game of Thrones.
But that was definitely the last one.
Yeah,
like,
where it's like people like got together
that.
to try and like watch this.
Yeah,
like we have to see this.
And I think people got so furious with the ending that it kind of stopped that
kind of ruined
entire
it.
Culture.
I mean, I think they're trying to do that with like White Lotus. Like I think HBO might be trying to do it. Like with
and I appreciate this about them. They have stuck to their guns about weekly releases.
Yeah.
They don't drop it all at
like
once.
Last of Us and I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I remember Lost. Like my brother came up to Boston so we could watch the finale together.
Oh yeah.
Like and we watched it with and that was funny. My roommate Sam was also a big fan of Lost, and my brother and I both were like, oh, that was a pretty good ending, and he was like, that sucked. And I remember being like, I am blown away that you think this sucks.
Yeah.
And then now I am a minority in it. And that I'm one of the few people that didn't think it sucked.
Yeah.
But to be fair, that was so long ago that now I don't even know why I didn't think it sucked.
Yeah.
It was so long ago when I started this rando. And then we got lost.
And then someone almost died.
No, I love
Matthew Fox.
Yeah.
Back to Matthew Fox.
I love it. No, this is great. Matthew Fox was terrified. I guess he grew up on a ranch in Wyoming with no TV. He had never even heard of Speed Racer.
Oh.
And he said he was terrified to work with the Wachowskis after he read the script, but he had complete faith that they would make him look good.
Hell yeah.
But he was actually petrified to just do the movie.
What made it so scary? Just because he was like, what is this?
Yeah, I think just seeing what it was and knowing like how they were going to make it and the intensity and knowing who the Wachowskis were before.
Yeah.
I need to read the screenplay because I want to know how they described this on paper. Because I'm sure if you just had what was on screen described on the page, you would be like, what the fuck is going on?
And you have to have gravitas because the way screenplay writing works, you can't describe this shit in the screenplay because if you're a first-time screenplay writer and you're trying to sell, like, why do you have all these descriptions?
It's a skeleton,
You're like, tell me what happens. I don't care what the surroundings look like. Just tell me what happens.
Yeah.
But then if it's your movie, like, have you ever read Tarantino scripts?
Yeah.
Like, they're so funny.
Yeah.
Like, I read The Inglourious Bastards, and, like, there was also, like, parts of that, like, there was a narrator they cut out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the whole thing, but it's funny, like, listening to seeing his direction, where he's like, and then just get in there and just dick down right here.
Yeah.
Like,
really hit him hard.
Yeah, and you're like, Jesus.
It's not just hit him with bat. It's like he hits him with the bat and then he like smirks and then he like gets blood on his face.
Really fucking hits
then
him
he
hard.
snorts coke and
Then he hits him again.
Yeah.
You
But
can
that's
hear
his
his
thing
voice.
is
when
he's
you're reading
writing
it.
for himself most
Right,
of the time.
right,
He did
right.
write other things and sold them, and that's cool. But like, I feel like he understands the difference between like, I'm writing for someone else to direct this, and I'm writing for me to direct this.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense because why would he not write it the way he's going to direct it?
Yeah.
Because then he's just he's adding an extra step for himself.
It's like
now,
fuck formatting at that point.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be the one putting this out, I need to write it in the way that I'm gonna remember what I was thinking.
Yeah, and he uses so many repeat actors that they know his voice too. So like they get it and they know what's happening. They're not just like, oh man, he really was having a rough day.
Yeah.
You know?
And he handwrites him first, right? Doesn't he? At first he handwrites him and then he has him typed up.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And I think that's interesting. This is another side tangent, but like, you know, you talk to people. I've written and tried to sell screenplays. You write them. It's like, what frustrates me about writing one is like that temptation to be so bland as like an unknown entity.
It's hard. It's really hard because I used to write them as well.
Yeah, it's like, how am I going to separate myself?
Yeah, and you can see something in your head where you're like, no, if I can just describe what's happening, because like visually, this is how I want this to happen.
Yeah.
And it would look good in the movie if you do it this way. And this makes the scene so much better, but you can't write it. So you're just like, I don't know. Hopefully the right director gets this.
And 9 times out of 10, they see that, they throw it out.
Yep.
Like, I don't want you. That's not your job. I don't want to know what you think. And that's hard.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like applying to comedy festivals because they have so many tapes that come their way that they are looking for any excuse to stop watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as simple as like they look at your not resume, but like, you know, the form you fill out to send it in, and they're just like, we told them like 5 to 7 minutes and it can't be unlisted, but this is an unlisted video, so not watching it. And you're like, God damn it. You know,
I mean, I'm sure some of them have just decided from seeing the angle of the camera that it's not working.
Yeah, or just like they see like, oh, Will Abeles again, huh?
Yeah.
Nope.
Bitch.
Well, maybe when he gets to year 20, we'll start watching his tapes.
But
no, I mean, it's true.
When he comes back around to being the pride of Hagerstown again.
Yeah. On the arc back up.
Yeah.
No, that becomes the legend known as.
Yeah.
When the next...
legend formerly known as Will Abeles.
Yeah, I'm just a symbol like Prince.
Yeah.
But even like I remember in college because I took screenwriting classes in college, and that was what I was kind of specializing in. I remember the teachers were like, we were learning aesthetically what the paper looked like.
Yeah.
So when you were doing exposition, it was like no more than 4 lines.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sentences, but like 4 lines.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, once it gets past that, they're not going to want to read it. So it has to look a certain way. So when you open up the screenplay and go, I want to read this because aesthetically it's pleasing.
Yeah.
You want to open it up and the first page is just all description or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. That's such a wild way to, but I guess it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I think we're kind of at the point where we're starting to watch that studio system fall apart because so many people are writing for themselves. Movies aren't selling the way they used to. TV shows aren't selling the way they used to. I think, and I'm hoping that once we start seeing some of these younger indie directors, Hollywood will kind of loosen their grip on how things are done and just let artists be artists.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we went into a new golden age of like real cinema in terms of just as simple as someone being like, I don't want to ask ChatGPT to do my homework.
Yeah.
You know, be like, I want to write my own screenplay from the start, and I want to go back and I want to watch every film from the 1970s, and I want to watch every film Scorsese's ever made, and like every movie he watched that made him want to make these movies, and then I'm going to go make my own thing, and we're going to see like the best film of all time from some kid named like, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just had a video go viral about Sinners, because the studio heads were freaking out because he's going to own the IP in 25 years.
Yep.
And he got first dollar gross, so every first dollar of every transaction that came in goes into his pocket.
Yep.
And there were anonymous studio executives basically saying this is going to cripple the studio system.
Yeah.
If we do this. The funny thing is they've done it before, just not with a black director.
Yeah.
But so now it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But
they're like, oh man, we messed up.
Man, we've done this with Tarantino, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I mean, but every time someone takes a step forward and gives more power to the creator, like these people, that's why Warner Brothers has issued a thing. We are not doing anything that's not going to be a guaranteed.
Yeah.
It has to be existing IP, it has to be celebrated IP, or we know we're not going to make any money.
Because all these guys see is money, right?
Yeah.
It's all about money, money, money. So like the second you mess with that, they're like, whoa, what happened here?
Yeah.
Because I don't like that number. And
Yeah.
and it's funny because it's a creative. I mean, we see it in comedy as well, though. I mean, not to like go into which comedians shouldn't be popular and stuff, but it's kind of like when you talk to an agent or you talk to a manager or whatever, they literally like they don't say like how long you been doing it, who have you opened for, where have you performed. They just go, all right, well, how many TikTok followers do you have?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, we can go viral for heinous reasons.
Yeah.
We can go viral for like accidents.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I have 10 million followers because I'm the shit himself on stage guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's so I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not surprised that like a lot of the films and TV shows and comics that we watch, like they are the way they are. 'Cause it's like that's a money game.
No, they're picking actors that way now.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke just he had a clip go viral because he was.
Because Maya Hawke was talking about it. She brought it up in an interview, and then Ethan Hawke was like, "What the fuck?"
What were they talking about?
Maya Hawke was talking about how she doesn't have social media, and so that has affected the roles that she can get because the execs and people casting have a quota on how many followers their actors are supposed to have on social media.
I mean, how many musicians do we see in town that are absolute dog shit, and they're like, I mean, you could take 10 of them, line them up, and you're like, this is the same person. I don't know any difference between these 10 people.
Yep.
But then you go on social media, and you're like, 6 million followers.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, I couldn't tell you their songs.
Nope.
I couldn't tell you anything about them, but I just know that they're on my feed.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that with celebrities now.
Yeah, but she's saying that she's expensive now because she doesn't have followers.
But her dad is Ethan Hawke.
Well,
one of the greatest
she's
living
also
actors.
really proven herself.
Yeah.
Like, she's had her own career, and it's just like, it's hard for her to get roles because she's taken the healthy decision to not be on social.
You know, I've always had, like, the few agents I've worked with, not as a performer, but just, like, in my TV days. I used to work under a director, and then I would work with his people. They were all like, not the agents, but the agent assistants and those people were like lovely. Yeah. Like, I enjoyed working with them, but I do always question what mindset you have to get into that side of it, where you just go, okay, I can't. It's like the, you know, those that can't teach Jim, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Way darker.
Yeah.
You know, and I do wonder how you get to this thing where you're like, is it a group of people that are so bitter about not making it as an actor that they're like, I want to destroy this thing that I loved from the age of
there's
6
definitely
onward,
that.
you know? And there's some people I think they're just like, no, I just like this job. I like entertainment industry, and I just like being a part of it.
Yeah.
Because there is excitement around there. You know, getting a deal done, no matter what the job is, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But I think there has to be, especially now, there has to be a huge group of people just like this.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my agent liked my book, but ultimately it came down to the fact that this podcast has such a big following because, without my social media followers, even though he loved the book, it wasn't enough. It wasn't necessarily
how
enough.
You're gonna sell it, right?
Yeah. And that was what it came down to. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, can you just say you like the book? Like, you can pretend like social media had nothing to do. Could you just say you liked it? And not tell me, oh, you have 70,000 TikTok followers. Like, oh, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so wild because, just as someone who's trying to be more serious about their social media, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And, I posted a video the other day, and my friend, she's fairly popular on Instagram, messaged me. She's like, hey, you cut this thing too quickly because, so we missed the joke. And I literally just put it up there because I knew I needed to post that day. I didn't care what it was. And I was like, I'm literally just posting the post. She's like, well, that's stupid. And I started to rant and be like, no, this is stupid that I'm doing this right now so I can promote something that hypothetically exists in 3 years. You know, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I just want to go tell jokes and write.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm not going to fight with this person. They're my friend, and they're trying to help me, you know. But I did have that moment of like, you know, I have a friend that back home, he's a follower, and he just posts a TikTok because it's fun. Like, he literally just plays the games on it. And I was like, God. Like, I'm so envious of the people that get to just use these tools as just what they're supposed to be, which is entertainment. You know, like, it'd be so nice.
Last rando. The Wachowskis, it's really interesting to me how much, because you suggested this movie, and I just thought, oh, it's the Wachowskis. They get to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
The studio was not happy about the anime. They weren't excited about the VFX. They pushed back a lot, and they wanted this movie to be more anchored in reality. And you'll love this because you like anime more than I do, but they wanted...
I'm not even that deep into it. I just dip my toes in.
Matthew Blevins is deep into it. He came on the Kill Bill podcast. That dude knows his... If you want to hear about anime, go back to our Kill Bill.
My brother's really into it. And when he starts talking, it's like I don't know anything about anime, truthfully. And
same.
When my brother starts talking to someone that knows it, you're like, oh, this is a culture.
It's its own
Lord of the
world.
Rings. Where it's like if people say like right now it's a fad to like Lord of the Rings, and it's just like got together and we just watched men being honest. And you're like, all right, that's true, but but like when you meet like a real Lord of the Rings fan, they're like quoting stuff about Faramir, and you're like, oh, is what I meant to say. But,
but they knew how important the anime roots were going to be, and they wanted to honor those, so they fought back.
Because you're adapting an anime.
Yeah, so I mean, they went to bat for it, and it turned out well, even though at the time. Yeah, that's another thing too. I didn't have a random for this, but it got absolutely lambasted by critics.
Yeah, they didn't understand it. Nothing like this had ever been done before.
Yeah, $120 million budget, $93 million. A lot of that was global, but now it has a cult. It has a cult following.
Massive cult.
People
following.
have caught on later and really love it.
You go on Reddit, and the Speed Racer subreddit is just blowing up with people who absolutely
what was this around the same time as because this is the only movie like I generally have a hard time saying like movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow was one of the few movies that at the time that I saw it I was like, hey.
I've never even heard of this.
Really?
Yeah.
It was because I think it's around this time. It might have been a little bit earlier.
2008.
Actually, so I think I saw it in high school, so it would have been like 2004 or 5.
Okay.
But it was like Jude Law, and I think it was around the time that. Sorry, I'm forgetting what the movies.
That was 1953. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was 2004.
2004, and the one of those genres that was coming out at that time was Frank Miller.
Sin City.
Sin City.
Oh,
It was around the time of Sin City, so they were trying to like capitalize in this like sort of cartoony world. So that's why I'm sort of surprised that Speed Racer didn't pick up because it was sort of like that era of like.
But here's what we have to remember:
more Sin City stuff
came out in 2008. Pretty sure it was a summer release. Feel free to find. Yeah. So what else came out in the summer of 2008? The Dark Knight, Iron Man. Like
Iron Man was 2008.
Yeah. You had two of the biggest movies ever come out within a month or two.
Yeah.
Genre-defining films.
It got, and this could have and should have been on that list, but they just got by the superhero craze really beginning in 2008.
Yeah, the Pride of Cocaine, Robert Downey Jr. made the start of his just like absolute ascent.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm sure there's a whole list of other. Because 2008 was like a great year for movies in general.
Yeah.
But there's so much that came out in that 3-month time span that, I'm unfortunately not surprised, just disappointed that this got buried just because so much other.
Shall we race?
Let's do it.
Shall we pretend to not be a brother and fake our death, but secretly long to be reunited with our families?
Shall we get sucked up with bubbles?
So we get sucked up with bubbles and not actually die.
The neighbors got sucked up by bubbles. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, we didn't really comment on that. I maybe we should. I don't know if I'm going to edit it out or not. But during the podcast, it sounded like someone died next door.
And fell down the set. There was no bang though.
No bang.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about Hitman last time. Maybe the best Hitman. Maybe it's all together. Maybe you guys are like actually getting way too into this, and you planned all of it. And this
Harrison Ford's a hitman.
Yeah. Will's gonna go tell all the other comedians.
That's my cat's name.
Do not do that podcast. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. Will's gonna tell everyone else that Seth and Kyle are just out here killing people.
But with my
But then
cat.
I find out it's someone that I want dead, and I'm like, oh, maybe I do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tony Hinchcliffe. No, just kidding. I knew the exact name that would get Will going.
That's so funny. I don't wish death on anybody except for the current administration. And even then, I'm like, do I want death or do I want slow, painful torture?
I want death on people who discontinue foods that I liked before I did carnivore. You know, like it was, like they stopped making us
carnivore.
For a year and a half. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm down 40 pounds. Don't I look slimmer?
You do look slimmer.
God. No, just kidding. No, yeah.
The internet calls him fat all the time.
I know,
so
people
it's
still
fine.
call me fat. Like someone hated something I said, they're like, the fat guy needs to get a clue. It's like, what?
I do love the fact that someone referred to Drew Davis as the gay one.
Yeah, I'm the fat one.
The internet is so funny. Like I got on Reddit the other day. I love this. So I'm trying to like post to Reddit more because stand-up wise, I love stand-up on Reddit because people like are nice. They give you constructive criticism, and like they aren't like that joke sucked. They're like, oh, I would have liked if you slowed down. Or
that's
like,
the opposite of our experience. But continue.
So I post. So I post like I'm trying to do more crap on social media. So I like did like a self-facing like whatever like hot take or not even hot. It was just about like how it's weird to borrow someone's car and not borrow someone's, or you can borrow someone's truck, but it's weird to borrow someone's car. It's not that funny. It's just a thing I was doing to put on the internet.
Fair.
And so it did fine on Instagram. So I put it on Reddit but I did it on the funny subreddit. People lost their fucking minds.
Really?
Like instantly hit like 20,000 views because people were just like, there's no joke in this. So this goes on for like 25, 30 minutes. And I'm just like watching the views go up. Like people are like, just like even when I would comment back on like the stuff they were saying, they were downvoting the comments. Like people were furious. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like I'm so happy. This is so funny. And then the administrator takes it down and messaged me and was like, you broke our first rule. It has to be funny. And I was like, this couldn't have gone better if it went viral. Like this is exactly what I wanted. That's
incredible.
Oh, it was art.
I love it.
It was so funny. And then like this person on Hinge who I matched up with was like saying something about comedy. And they're like, well, at least you're funny. And I was like, actually, I just got kicked off of the funny subreddit on Reddit. And she never responded after that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
I got banned from the Snyder Cut subreddit.
I've heard about you and your Snyder Cut. I've heard whispers.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
I basically just use Reddit to help me pick out luggage
Yeah.
to buy.
I'm on camping Reddit right now to try and help me with this tour, and
Nice.
I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed. It's
Too many
It's too
opinions.
helpful. It's
Yeah.
too helpful.
It's too helpful.
Yeah, but it is great. It's a great tool
If it's positive,
if it's positive. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't.
Back to the
To anyone, yeah, to anyone calling Kyle fat, why don't you take a look in the mirror yourself?
that's right. That's right. He is now again the pride. He has reassumed because he's defending me.
He's a group of lions.
Group of lions. All right, if you dig it, if you love it, if it's a yes, pancakes are love. That was one of my favorite
Pancakes are love.
Yep.
So good.
That's one of my
That whole scene is
Yeah.
incredible. Quick side note about the movie. Last time I watched this movie before this time, I was tripping so hard on mushrooms.
Really?
That literally like people's faces were like bubbling and morphing
Wow.
and shit. But I realized as I'm watching this, it was like, this was made for people tripping because it is nothing but flashing, moving lights
yeah.
and close-ups of the most delectable looking food you've ever seen. That scene in particular, masterpiece. Anywho.
I'll have to watch it on Club Soda.
Yeah.
On Topo Chico.
On ayahuasca.
baby.
Woo! Boy, it's bubbly.
I'm on Benadryl. I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
I actually not to, but I have had Benadryl. Like it's like when you have nothing in your system, like no alcohol, nothing. It was great.
Yeah.
Because I was like stuffy. I took a Benadryl and I was like, I got the best sleep my entire life. And I was like, man, that really hit me hard. I was like, oh, because I've had nothing in my system that's like not just water.
Yeah.
or food.
Benadryl addiction's on the rise. I just
Yeah.
read about it.
Yeah. Is
It's
it? Is it really?
It's a thing.
I get it.
You
Yeah.
take
I
too
get
much
it.
at once and you can trip balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that I knew, but I just meant like I've never had it hit me as hard as it did, except for the one time I had the doctor gave me a shot of Benadryl.
Nice.
That's the best I've ever felt in my entire life. Yeah.
Hell
And
yeah.
if it's negative, if you don't like it, if it's a big no, spear hook.
Spearhook.
Spear hook.
Okay.
Top Bill cast. Here we go. Speed Racers, Top Bill cast. That would be Emil Hirsch. This menu needs to get out of my way. Matthew Fox, Christina Ricci.
That was it?
Yeah, it's surprising John Goodman's not in the top bill.
Or
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon.
yeah, or
Susan
Susan
Sarandon's
Sarandon.
huge.
Fascinating. All three fucking great. Everyone, again, Speed, like Emil Hirsch played such a great straight man that even the subtle cartooniness of Christina Ricci's Trixie was just so good. Like everyone complemented each other. Everyone fit in this weird, fantastical world they created, but never felt over the top. So yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah, I'll say pancakes, and I think Matthew Fox in that role was like that drew in the Lost People,
yeah,
right? Because that's that era. Because I was thinking, I was like, man, I don't think he's ever been top bill then,
yeah.
you know. But yeah, just those three alone is great.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was really shocked. And Emil Hirsch does play it very even. It took me a minute to adjust because I was like, he's not showing a lot of dynamic here. But then I started to seeing how all the other characters are more, like you said, cartoony. That you actually said it perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's good that we had one person to kind of anchor, to kind of be a counterpoint
Yeah.
to the craziness.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure it probably is mimicking the way the cartoon was done with
and I
that
feel
kind
like- I
of
feel like
juxtaposition.
Ash Ketchum's kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Pokemon, where he's sort of the anchor. Anyway,
It kind of feels like Christina Ricci could have been one of the greats. Like, I think she's good, but I just don't think people talk about her often. But every time I see her, we're like, she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been in some incredible movies too. Like she's had a very solid career. So
I have a friend that worked. I forget. Oh, remember she was in. I don't think it was talked about much, but she plays Zelda Fitzgerald, and it's basically like I think it was a mini series. I don't think it was like a full, but it was on Hulu or something like that. And my friend worked on it as like a. He was like after working with her and like kind of just picking her brain, and like she's like really knows the like Hollywood well.
Oh yeah.
Like she's very much, and he was like, I have like so much respect for her.
I mean, like you said, she's been in it since the beginning.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like I don't think she's talked about enough, and maybe
Yeah.
she kind of wants it that way.
Yeah, it's interesting, like her life, and then I just listened to the Billy Corgan, Corey Feldman interview. Corey Feldman on the other did not fare so well. I'm not laughing
Yeah,
because it's
no.
funny. My God, so
We're
it's just,
laughing because it hurts.
it hurts.
I mean, it all comes down to their I don't want to say home life, but like their support system.
It absolutely
you know?
does.
100%.
All right, 1-0 supporting cast. We got John
Look
Goodman.
at you with that spreadsheet.
I love it. It's so good for me.
2 for 2.
Keeps me on rails. Oh, are you?
2
what?
for 2 spreadsheets.
Oh, I was thinking. Don't throw more numbers at me. 1-0. No, just kidding. No, I'm just. No. Just messing around. John Goodman, Susan Sarandon, We got there's so many people. Roger Allam as Arnold Royalton, fantastic.
So good.
Yeah, Polly Litt as Spritel. There's so many people to talk about. The inspector was Bano Ferman, who I really liked. Who was the Tejo Rain is his name?
Togokan, yeah, Rain, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's a I don't know which country he's from, but he's like an Asian music celebrity.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was fucking tastic.
And anyone else? There's a lot here. I think that's
isn't the guy from he's in it. I saw that when I was.
I think he's Inspector Detector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
Fantastic. No, the fact that John Goodman is considered support, fine, whatever. Holy shit. Just him alone would make this incredible. But Susan, see, here's the other thing. John Goodman had the big not over the top, but like louder than life kind of personality. And Susan Sarandon had that calm serenity that made Speed not seem so weird for being as straight and calm as he is. Their juxtaposition together of being both sides of Speed was really good. Roger Allam is one of the most terrifying villains I've ever seen in this without being, again, over the top. He was just perfectly menacing, but also a little wacky with the way that he would give his soliloquies and his speeches. Like, obviously, Chim Chim Spritel completely stole every scene they were in. But even down to, the other racers, like just the other side characters, everybody was memorable for some reason or another. So absolutely pancakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss that era of like, just throwing 20 celebrities at us. 20 actors at us all in like one movie. Like, I don't know if we have that now.
Every now and then one movie will pop up where it's like, what the fuck? But it's not as often.
And it's like, if they do it, they're like, hey, we're getting the band back together. And it's like Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, and George Clooney. And they're like all doing something together.
Yeah, I feel like Christopher Nolan at this point is the one doing that.
Because
with everybody who's going to be in the Odyssey, it's just, it's
oh, yeah,
insane.
the Odyssey. Right. But anyway, pancakes for me. The supporting cast is that's phenomenal. And like, if you had just had John Goodman, and that was it, they'd be like, okay. Because I would have been intrigued. You know what I mean? I've been like, okay, well, why is John Goodman signing up for this?
Yeah.
And no one else.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
He does pick interesting work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go supporting cast. We were talking about before we hit record, but I want to talk about how like my 30s have been a lot with film, has been about realizing John Goodman's like a top 5 actor for me.
Yeah.
Like, because I've watched him, and when we talked about Big Lebowski, one of the things that we talked about was how he was really insecure.
Yeah.
Because he was on Roseanne, and he felt like he could never not be a sitcom guy, and like that's was
incredible because he's so good in Roseanne too.
Yeah, and he's just very self-critical.
Yeah.
Like he actually was quoted saying he thought he ruined the Big Lebowski.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say he steals it because obviously.
I think he does.
But I mean, it's like his character's iconic.
Yeah,
he's the perfect counterbalance to Jeff Bridges. It's every scene they're in together, you can tell they're just feeding others energies.
Yeah.
Have you seen that new theory that Donnie is a figment of John Goodman's imagination?
Yeah,
I did see that
because he's only addressed one time by
another character,
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
That's the only. He only says it like one time. Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Only one time he says he just says like, but he's commenting after the fact.
And it would make sense with his Nam background and maybe his PTSD and
yeah. I was like, oh, I like that.
I love the other theory that he's like Steve Buscemi's character Donnie is like from another movie who's a serial killer who like got away.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I forget what movie it was, but there was one that came out right before that he's some terrifying killer.
Steve Buscemi's another one where you like kind of have that moment somewhat recently.
Yeah.
I feel like when Boardwalk Empire came out, that's when I was like, I don't think I have a single role that Steve Buscemi's played that I'm not into.
Yeah.
Also delivered the hardest line ever in Spy Kids 2, where he's like, does God stay in heaven because he's scared of his creation?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Which has no reason to go that hard.
No, but it does, and it works.
But yeah, I think one thing the supporting cast does too is that everyone is fitting into the scheme. You have this crazy hyperbolic anime going on and these saturated colors. No, everyone is playing into it really well, and it feels like they're almost part of the art. And I don't think without the Wachowskis' direction and without these actors doing that, I don't know that they may have stuck out like sore thumbs. Like you might have noticed, but everyone blends in really
There's
well.
a lot that had to come together to make this work as well as it did.
All right, 2-0. Writing, the Wachowskis, and obviously the original creator of Speed Racer, the cartoon. But
so this is only speaking as someone who loves the movie, has no prior history with the show. the writing is so good. It's like down to just the simplest of lines, but it'll do the thing that I love where it'll subtly give you something that someone says near the beginning of the movie and then actually impactfully bring it out in the end. Not make it sound cheesy. The big one that I love is when his mom is talking to him and she's just like, the things you do is art. And it's like, when I see you do the things you do on the racetrack, it takes my breath away. Yeah. And then bringing it back in that montage when he's about to win the Grand Prix. And it's so well written and so well called back. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading a little bit before we started just to like kind of freshen up, and like I thought that was wild that this has been in what they call it. They call it production hell or pre-production hell since '92. And so like just that alone, the fact that they presented something that finally Hollywood was like, all right, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just so impressive. So
Did you have any research on who it started with and like why it was in production hell for so long?
Well, the basically the IP was the hardest part. Was that once it became available, it's just they didn't know who like was going to do it.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I really don't know, but I just know it got kicked around as a property for a while.
Okay.
In '92.
one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. But yeah, pancakes for me. I mean, it's
pancakes are love, man. And I think my first thought is that Spritel had no business being as funny as he was.
Yeah.
his dialogue, the lines, they had to find the right kid to do it, the right ADR, whatever, that was.
Well, that was his voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm talking like old movies, like from like the 70s or earlier. Half the time you see a kid, it'll actually be an adult doing the kid's voice.
Yeah, because you see the bad lip syncing.
Yeah.
Like you see it. Yeah. He's hilarious. Like in a lot of this dialogue like is really good. Like it serves the film very well. And I always love it when the directors or the writers, I love that.
Like when he's talking about throwing Chim Chim cookies at him.
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah. I just think it's top notch. I think it serves the story really well. And I think the characters develop really nicely, and they're all even the family that Ray, who is it? How do you say his name? Rain, the actor.
Rain, yeah, the Togo Khan family.
Yeah, like I love their part in it. Like I think every character, nothing stuck out to me as a bad character, and that comes down to writing. I think it's very consistent. So 3-0, and we can really thank the spreadsheet for that. Yeah. Directing, the Wachowskis.
Yeah, obviously for me, it's their best film. Shockingly underrated. I wish more people knew about it when it came out. I wish it had done better in the box office. Clearly, once they got a hold of the IP, they had a vision, and they delivered the vision to the letter. Like, it is so well done, so well thought out. The crazy transitions and shots, like, it's almost as if there's no cuts in the movie. It just feels so fluid, even though you're going to tons of different places all within, like, a 3-minute scene. It feels so seamless. So for me, it's Pancakes. They did such a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been influenced by this movie because I do remember, like, in college, specifically with the Wachowskis, almost like mocking the movie coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, we're around a bunch of film nerds that we know everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were the next generation.
Fight Club's the greatest film ever.
Yeah.
It is. No, okay. But I do remember being like, they're doing fucking Speed Racer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did a great job, and they I mean, honestly, if I hadn't heard Seth say like how much of the vision that they had, now I'm like seeing it, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll say Pancakes.
Yeah,
Pancakes
I go Pancakes too. I just love that they take big chances.
Yeah,
yeah. I guess that's what I was sort of saying.
Yeah, they put themselves out there. They're not afraid to talk the studio down. And it's still amazing to me that they had to like earn the cred to, after the Matrix to do the CGI in this movie.
And V for Vendetta.
Yeah. It's like, you don't trust these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy to think. Even just the first Matrix, that's it.
Yeah.
You don't just go, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If they hadn't earned the trust by now, I think it's fantastic. And the only problem I had was I think it could have been a little shorter.
Sure.
There was a little bit of a lull at the 75% mark, but that's it. Like I have like 2 qualms, and that was the first one.
Yeah.
So it wasn't enough to take me out of it. But once it picked up again at like the 95% mark, the close was super strong, and I thought it was great. So yeah,
that whole final race scene is.
Yeah, my favorite scenes are all when the family's together.
Yeah,
it's actually not even the racing. I just think, and that goes back to the writing part too. I mean, it's like those scenes were really well written.
Yeah,
the interactions were fantastic. Like all my favorite, like the garage.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I love when they're in John Goodman's garage. And that bomb comes in, and he like breaks the mop stick. like just funny little decisions like that were big character moments in simple times.
Yeah.
So
well, and like going back to the casting, like everyone had some pretty decent chemistry.
yes.
yeah.
You know, like they all understood their assignment with the roles.
Yes.
You know, they weren't just like, and so what, like, what's my motivation behind this? It
Yeah.
was just like, hey, here's what we're telling you. Here's a script. And they were like, got it. We're in. Yeah.
Like Speed and Trixie never felt like a couple. Like they're together, but they met when they were kids, and they do a good job kind of just making them seem like lifelong friends. Like yes, they're in a relationship, but
well, that's kind of the thing. When you know people who've been in an actual healthy relationship since they were literal children, that's how it goes. They just seem like family because that's what they are. They have become each other's person, and while they're still very, individual characters, they are very much extensions of each other in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it plays so well.
Yeah, that is something that you see in couples for sure. Like I remember, like not to dump on my ex, but there was like a time I would like watch another couple interact and be like,
yeah.
And I mean that as a negative on our side and a positive on their side. I was like, they seem so silly.
Yeah.
I told a joke once and we didn't talk for 2 days.
Let's dump on your ex. What's your biggest insecurity?
No, I'm not.
But really, no. 4-0. What's in front of us? This is going to be an interesting category because there's a lot in front of us.
So much.
Cinematography, production design, sound, costumes, editing, stunts, and we should add visual effects here for sure.
Yeah, and I think y'all know how I'm going to go on this. Like,
I would love if you didn't though. I would love if you were just like, actually, this is my biggest qualm.
Yeah. Just the animation was too cartoony. I wish they had actually filmed in like real sets. Like, how did they not build the Grand Prix? Like, what the fuck is wrong? No,
come here to
fucking
Nashville
incredible.
And use the Speedway.
Yeah.
Craighead Street.
Yeah. Oh my god, just like I love the 3-act structure and how every different location that they go to looks so different and unique. Like it just. Every part of the design of this movie, the way the camera is moving between characters during one of my favorite parts as far as just like a conversation that has no business being this interesting is when Trixie is driving in the cross-country race and they're going up the hatchbacks and the camera's bouncing between the cars, but it's all technically still one shot.
Yeah.
What a fucking unique way to do that.
Yeah.
There's so much visually about this movie that no one did before, and I cannot think of many people who've even tried to emulate it today,
right? Especially
in the live action anime genre. So yeah, 100%. This is some of the most incredible, creative visuals I've ever seen in a film. So it's pancakes for me.
Yeah, same. I mean, yeah. It's
you don't have to love it as much as I do. But,
no, I mean, I don't love it as much as you do for sure. But like,
the Emerald Couch has vibes.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it'd be weird for like us to get this far into it and then just be like, yeah, but I couldn't stand watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everything was shot really well and all that.
No, the only negative I had was that it actually wasn't many, but there was just a few scenes in the racing where I kind of lost track of what was happening.
And that's fair.
Yeah. And
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of colors. The track is CGI'd. I mean, there was just like so much that there were just a few times. Luckily, it wasn't a lot because I think if it was a lot, it would have been a problem.
Yeah.
But there was just a few moments like, where's happened? Like, I thought people were dying for a minute. And then I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. They have these bubbles. And then for a minute, I was like, are these real cars? Are these virtual cars? Is this VR? Are they playing VR? But aside from that, I give it a total pancakes for love because I think it's an incredible feat. Again, they did it with The Matrix, and they're doing it here. They're pushing the boundaries. And like you said, it was not well loved at the time. Got a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was generous because some of the critics really hated it.
That's so fucking dumb.
And how did Ebert feel about it?
I think he hated it.
Was he dead by then? I can't remember when he died.
Who's the one that has no jaw?
That's Roger Ebert, yeah. No, I think he was still alive at that point.
Oh, was he? I can't remember when he died. God, a lot of people would say he died in the 80s. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the fact that he was like, I want to live, I'd be like, I'm done, dude.
Yeah, he's had a lot of weird opinions.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do know Rotten Tomatoes, 42%, and critics just in general did not like it.
Yeah.
They just thought it was too much. But now it's copied, and it's also what's funny is it's copied in a way that makes it look really good because the new, like you said earlier, the new stuff that's kind of imitating it is not as good.
No.
So I think people are kind of looking back like, oh, I think we should have appreciated that more.
Yeah.
But I think you might have hit the nail on the head when it's like, if now that I remember that like Iron Man came out and Dark Knight came out, it's like, oh yeah, why would I have gone and seen that movie?
Yeah.
Why would I have appreciated that?
Yeah.
5-0, and I need your little bit of your help because this is your category idea. Anime, Anna you.
So yeah, for basically the idea I had behind this is like, in terms of live action anime adaptations, like how does this stack up? And obviously we've had plenty of discussions about this already.
Can you give us a few other films to counter, like maybe to?
I mean, the Dragon Ball Z is definitely the biggest one that people just lambasted. The M. Night Shyamalan Avatar, and even the new version of Avatar, Cowboy Bebop that Netflix did, One Piece that Netflix did. One Piece is actually, of all of those that I just named, One Piece is the only one that people kind of liked, but there were so many problems that people had with the live action that I don't even think One Piece is getting a second season. I know Cowboy Bebop got canceled because it just got so hated.
Was that Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at this point, Netflix is kind of the only one trying to do these live action remakes of animes, and I just don't like them.
Yeah.
What was that? There's one that was out, I want to say it was on Showtime, but it was like post-apocalyptic, like different clans. And I think it was based on
Banshee?
Yeah, maybe it's
I think Banshee's on Cinemax.
No, maybe it wasn't Banshee. It was
I don't remember.
That's a live action.
Yeah.
The only reason I brought it up is like that might be the only one I've watched.
Ah, fair. For me, I mean, even if you haven't watched them, I'm sure you've seen clips of things. I never watched the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar, but I've seen enough clips to know it's horribly done. I've seen enough clips from the live action Dragon Ball Z movie to know it should never have been made. How the fuck do you literally like make a prosthetic hair for a character? Like, it's just insane. And looking at the ones that have been coming out recently, there's this weird uncanny valley with them where nothing feels natural. Yes, they're real people. Yes, they're wearing costumes, but they don't feel like they belong in a world. They look like they're a set piece. They look like they've been placed in this completely artificial viewing space. And so comparing a lot of those looks to what they did with this, like I said earlier, with the costumes especially, as vivid and bright as the colors are, they look like actual clothes. They look like a real suit or a real polo that someone would wear, even if the colors are very kind of Tim Burton-esque as far as when he goes extra colorful. So for me, it stands up above any of the other live action remakes that I've seen, just because they somehow found a way for this entirely artificial world to feel natural somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's almost impossible for me to have a opinion on it because I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen Dragon Ball. I haven't seen Last Airbender. Did I see the M. Night Shyamalan in it? So if I'm comparing it to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean,
maybe another way to spin it is, does this open your mind maybe to being interested?
See, that I would say yes. Yeah.
That's also,
That's how I have
that I'd be like, because now I kind of want to be like, all right, well, what is being compared to this? You know,
right.
like what is, or not being compared to trying to emulate it. So in that way, yeah, sure.
Yeah. This one's a skosh over for me, or a squeak over, because I love it and appreciate it. It's funny. I was wondering, I was like, could this maybe get me into that world? Because it's a world I've been curious about, especially since we had Blevins on for Kill Bill, because he was like describing it, and I was like, wow, it's this whole world. And but it's funny, like you're gonna laugh at this when I turn on the TV for my kids to watch, like there'll be the Samsung, whatever's on the Samsung channel live streaming. And sometimes it's anime, and I instantly get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what this is. It's like,
I remember that with Dragon Ball, because I had some friends that were really into it. My brother was really into it, and I remember like it was one of those things where I was like, there's too much for me to try and catch up on. And like, so that's why my two brothers are able to talk about anime, because they're a part of the whole thing. They take the time to watch all of it. Like, what's the one that's like considered like one of the best ones?
TV shows or movies?
I think I think the books are considered excellent, but I think now the show's going well. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. But like, it's very long, and there's a lot. Like, you know, and I understand what you're saying. Where you just go, I can't.
So much.
Where do I start?
And when you meet someone that's really into it, like I'm afraid to like say the wrong thing, because they
get mad.
They get mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I just did a couple weekends ago comedy at the Nashville Anime Convention, or the Middle Tennessee Anime Convention, and I felt like such a poser just coming in, because as much as I do appreciate anime for what it is, I'm a very surface level anime guy. I like the American animes, which would specifically be for me the Avatar series and the Last Airbender and the Korra one. I love Studio Ghibli. I think everything that they have put out is just such a testament to artistic vision. They've created some worlds that even other animes have tried to emulate and just don't do as well. But the moment you start getting me beyond things like Attack on Titan,
that's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen most of that one. It was good. Didn't really make me want to finish the whole thing, but it was solid for what it was.
Right.
But yeah, there's just a style with anime that when you try to get into something like Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z, where there's literally 10 different shows and each one has like 300 episodes.
And cards, and action figures.
Old. Yeah,
you just
video
don't feel
games.
like you could get into it.
Yeah.
But when I looked up the show of Speed Racer, and saw it was only 52 episodes, and that's it. Like, that felt approachable for
But that's
me.
very early.
Yeah.
That's a very early, like 1967. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
67, 68. I'm not going to say it's one of the original animes, but it's definitely one of the early ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole world. And so I give it a squeak over. I really liked and appreciated it, but I still don't feel this urge to go.
Like, piques your interest, but nothing beyond that. Yeah.
Which
I'm
actually
gonna cancel everything I have going for me and just be like, I'm watching this for the next 2 months straight.
Yeah.
And it really does speak to how good the movie is, because I don't like the genre. I don't like racing movies, and I don't really, and I don't like anime.
Yeah.
But I still was like, I like this.
Yeah.
So it speaks to it, but it's a squeak because I'm not going to go crack open that. So 6-0.
Until I make you for a movie.
Yeah, that's the only way I encounter shit is Seth throwing me into the Snyderverse here. Racism.
I really was like, oh, here's how we wrap it up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
How do we feel about this as a racing film?
I mean, I don't know if Fury Road's considered a racing film, but it feels like one for me.
Yeah.
I put this up in the same category as that as far as quality. Fury Road is my number 6 movie ever made. I've just recently, within the past week, decided that a little better. So it's my number 5. Fury Road's my number 6. Equally well done for such vastly different reasons. Where Mad Max goes minimalist with the dialogue, this has such a unique way of expressing the world of racing, but also giving us all of the backstory we would ever need without ever feeling like it's just two characters plot dumping.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the races themselves, I'm on the edge of my seat the whole time, and I've seen the movie 100 times. Like, every time I'm watching just like Speed's going down the mountain, and then he's got the tire like tracks out. Now he's climbing up the side of the mountain. Like, I'm all in every time. Like, it just gets me excited every time I watch these movies. So yeah. For me, 100%.
I mean, I think the greatest racing movie of all time is clearly the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I mean, I think that's obviously the number 1 racing movie ever.
Yeah.
And then, number 2, Talladega Nights.
Fair.
Yeah.
You said that, and I was like, I had to start thinking. I was like, what racing? I thought when I had to think about racing movies,
Rush is a big one.
Rush. I thought of the Phantom Menace.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, and I was like, well, compared to that, it's a pretty good racing movie.
And that what's that? Christian Bale, Matt Damon.
Oh, the Ford v Ferrari.
Oh yeah. And then the other one with Chris Hemsworth. That's Rush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fast and Furious.
So when you said Rush, I don't know what I was thinking when you
all
said
17
Rush,
of them.
Yeah. But it's a good racing movie. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I until you said that, I have not thought about racing as a genre.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's 100% a thing. And I just genuinely wasn't like, and I was trying to like rattle my brain. I was like, yeah, this was great. Yeah.
I have a. It's hard to strip out my bias in this category because growing up in Arkansas, maybe this happened to you guys too, but in high school, I remember like Fast and Furious came out.
Well, already I'm out because I didn't go to high school.
That's true. Oh, you didn't go to high school, and you were. I think you went way after those movies came out, right?
I never went to high school.
I mean, you were homeschooled.
Yeah.
You accomplished the grades.
Yeah.
You were in 10th grade. You went to a school, just not the high school. You went to a homeschool. Okay, sorry, I got to break it down for everybody.
Someone at home was like,
maybe
is this homeschool?
So maybe you remember this. Remember when? Maybe this is small town Arkansas, but Fast and Furious came out. Everybody was putting spoilers on their cars, spinners.
Oh, it was a personality.
It was a thing.
It took over.
And they were racing at lights. They were racing out of the school parking lot. Racing became this pissing match thing.
Yeah.
You went to the duel. We had the dual highway in Hagerstown. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it
Not
was the
me.
most
I was driving a
annoying
Volkswagen Beetle.
shit. And I blame Fast and Furious. I blame racing movies And anytime today, because it happens in Nashville too, people get arrested all the time for street drag racing.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I hate it.
Yeah.
Maybe because I drive a Camry. But yes, I do give it a squeak over because well done. It's again kind of like the anime category. It's not gonna make me a race movie enthusiast.
Yeah.
Again, it speaks to how well executed it is. The fact that I did like it, but I'm not gonna go out and watch all the Fast and Furious again or anything like that. But
what about Chariots of Fire?
I would do that one.
Is that the running one?
Yeah.
That's the running one, right?
That's a good one.
What's the one where he's in the what's the Roman one? Is that Spartacus? No.
I do think it's Spartacus, isn't it?
Is he also racing in Spartacus?
Oh, I can't remember. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Tell us in the comments.
They will.
Yeah.
7-0, a clean sweep.
I'm not surprised. Like I said, there's a reason it's my third favorite movie ever made.
Yeah, this is one of those that it posthumously is respected.
Yeah.
But at the time they hated it. But we gave it a clean sweep here. Will Abeles gave it a clean sweep.
I'm still laughing about the Vin Diesel's arms and CGI because you two both said, yeah. So matter of fact that I was like, oh.
What I thought you meant was his arms are not that big.
No. I mean,
no, that's what I meant too. I thought you were talking about his muscles.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Thank y'all. Make sure to go see Will. You can check out the last podcast. He actually laid out all of his dates. Would you have a website with those?
No, but you can go to bandsintown.com/Will
Because he's a band.
Abeles.
He's a band.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's used for.
One-man band.
Even in the there's no comediansintown.com. Everybody gets on. But no, bandsintown.com is where I list all my ticket dates. And once I get back in at the end of June, it continues on into July is kind of and then it continues on into August and September and October and November and then December.
Nice.
Whoa.
And then I quit comedy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
Pulling an old Nate Bargatze.
Yep.
That is stand-up to a
quit.
T.
I quit and I build myself a theme park.
There we go.
Quitting stand-up is always on the table.
Yeah.
I've quit 3 times.
I've never I haven't quit, but I've had breaks.
Yeah.
Where I even when I wasn't trying to take a break, it was just kind of maybe I'll just spend time with my. I guess that wasn't worth it. Should have been should have been at the mics, man.
Yeah.
But there are times where you're just kind of oh, maybe I'll just go enjoy the company of another individual that's not running a bit by me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun. It's not an art form. I get home from the podcast, I'm like, yeah, that was good. But when I get home even if I killed stand-up, I get home, I'd be hunched over, be like, oh my god.
So many times that I leave a show and I'm like, well, the fun part of my life is over, and I'm just in my car ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Rehashing even you can crush and you're still rehashing
Yeah.
Said that wrong. This girl had cross-eyed in the front seat, and then just blah blah blah.
Yeah. I was doing a show Friday night. We did Stone Cold Sober, and I at the end we bring up an audience member now, and I do almost a trivia for the show, and then give them prizes. And I was trying to get this girl to come on, and she was just didn't want to do it. And so I jokingly was like, "You're a coward." And someone yelled, they were like, "No, she still want to do it." I was like, "No, I know, I'm kidding, I'm kidding."
Jokes.
And
Jokes.
and so the person the other funny part was the person this was fine. They were like, "No, it's fine. I just don't want to do it." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I got it." And so I brought someone else on. And then I gave them a drink ticket afterwards. And I was thinking about it later, and I was like, "Yeah, to force them." And then I was also like, "Shut up!"
Yeah.
Everyone had fun.
Yeah.
It was a moment in time where someone was upset for a second, and then they were like, "No, I don't care. We're just telling you they don't want to come on stage."
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that for 3 days, even though the rest of the show was fantastic.
And on that note, I have to piss, so it's great to see you all.
Love y'all. I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Will. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Check his special out. Love y'all.
Movie Wars.